Hey guys, so today, like I said, I'm gonna make a strawberry rhubarb crumble. Now, strawberry rhubarb is something that I thought I hated for years. Like growing up, I was like, ew, strawberry rhubarb, because the rhubarb was too tart. But a few days ago, Tim and I were out of town and we had gotten back and we had some rhubarb that was given to us. And I was like, you know what? Tim likes it. I'm gonna make something with it. I ended up loving it. I loved it. So I'm making that again today, and the recipe is super easy, and I figured I would share it with you. All right, so I have a cutting board. I have a mixing bowl, which I'm gonna use to make the crumble. I have some measuring spoons, some rubber spatulas, my measuring cups, a zester, and then I have a few ingredients. So to make the topping, you need 1 1/3 cups all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 3 tablespoons granulated sugar, 3 tablespoons of Demira or Turbino sugar, the zest of 1 lemon, and 10 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get started making that in here, and I'll show you all the measurements. All right, so I need 1 1/3 cup. So I'm gonna take my 1/3 cup measurer. I'm gonna measure out my flour. Remember, you do not want to pack your flour. If you pack your flour, you'll get almost double the amount, and whatever you're making will be bone dry. All right, folks, and now we're just gonna mix this all together until it's combined, and it's going to form a sugar cookie dough consistency almost. Boom, that's done. Now all I have to do is pop it into the fridge and chill it for 10 minutes. All right, folks, so now I have this big bowl here, and this is gonna be for my filling. I am going to need 3 cups of chopped rhubarb, 2 quarts of strawberries, the juice of 2 lemons, 1 cup granulated sugar, and 6 tablespoons of cornstarch with a pinch of salt in this dish. So I'm going to get chopping and get mixing. All right, guys, so I'm gonna start with my rhubarb. Now this is underripe rhubarb. Typically, your rhubarb should have a lot of red to it, but because I wanted to film this video, this is a little underripe. It's still fine to eat, it's totally edible. It is going to be much more on the tart side than it normally would be. So keep that in mind when you're using it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna cut these kind of weird ends off here and get them in the bowl. All right, guys, so here is my rhubarb, and I do have one piece that has a little bit of that redness on it. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. And that's something you'd want all the way through your rhubarb. Now I'm going to do my 2 quarts of strawberries. Now my fresh, oh, there we go. My fresh strawberries in the supermarket did not look great, so I'm gonna use frozen strawberries. There's nothing wrong with that, it acts the same way. Now you can thaw them, or you can just use them on their own. Some people would be like, you must thaw them, otherwise there's gonna be too much water. But you know what? Who does not love a nice, juicy crumble? I can't think of anybody. So I'm just gonna rough chop these. I do not care how these look. I don't care if they're in uniform pieces. I just like them nice and chopped. So I'm gonna chop the rest of the strawberries off camera like I have those there, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, you can see all those strawberries in there looking all yummy and delicious. So now I am going to put in the rest of the ingredients. So I have the juice of 2 lemons. All right, I also need 1 cup of granulated sugar. And I always throw in a smidgen extra, especially when my rhubarb is so tart. And I need 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now, I was using a 1.5 teaspoon measurement. As you can see, maybe, no? Either way, I was using a 1.5 tablespoon measurement. That way I only had to measure it 4 times. And then it's also a pinch of salt because you do have all that sweetness. Now we're going to mix this all together. And then we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes. And don't be afraid to get in there with your hands, especially if you have frozen strawberries. Sometimes it can be a little bit harder to mix up. All mixed. Now we're gonna let this sit here for about 10 minutes, and I'm gonna pull out my crumble as well. All right, folks. Next is spreading the crumble on top. So it's gonna be a little stiff. Just break it up into little pieces and spread it nice and evenly. All right, so I'm just gonna lay this down. Because of the butter, you can kind of warm it with your hands if it's too cold, and that'll help make it a little bit flatter, or make it a little bit easier to flatten, that is. Folks, that's topped. Now I'm going to pop it in a 375 degree oven for anywhere from 40 to 45, 50 minutes until it's golden brown and crisp on top. All right, guys, so I pulled out the crumble and this is how it looks. It didn't bubble over this time today, which is really, you can see it definitely bubbled up a little on the sides here. But you want to let it sit about 10 to 15 minutes before you serve it. That way it kind of congeals and gets nice and thick and delicious. Kind of like when you let meat rest. And it's really nice with vanilla ice cream, whipped cream. So that's how you make a strawberry rhubarb crumble, guys. Like I said, I did a double recipe. So actually when I filmed it, I initially, for the crumb topping, or the crumble part, if you will, I did a single recipe, and off camera I doubled it. So just double those amounts. The filling was already doubled. I'll put the recipe in the description box below. If you like these kind of videos, hit the like button, leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to It's a Sweet and Savory Life. Hit that little notification bell so you get a little notification when I upload. And also subscribe to my Instagram. It's a Sweet and Savory Life 2018, or shoot me an email at itsasweetandsavorylife@gmail.com. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.